The Riddler has dropped a ton of brand new riddles and is next week finally when we get the Nintendo Direct revealing the region name for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Let's take a look. If you haven't been following Pokemon over the last few weeks, has actually been laying out these different kind of posts saying visit Hoenn, visit Sinnoh, so on and so forth. And they just posted visit Galar. And we are actually expecting this to line up perfectly with next week, where they could say visit whatever the new region is. It's very peculiar that at this point in the life cycle of Scarlet and Violet, we have not actually gotten the region name. Normally we have it by now, and there's been a lot of rumors in the community regarding a Nintendo Direct taking place next week after the Xenoblade Direct just happened yesterday. So I think there's definitely some potential to this. I would definitely keep your eyes and ears open. Make sure you guys are glued to the channel. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. We're closing out 1 million, by the way, so big shouts to all y'all. But I do think we are going to be getting a Nintendo Direct very soon. So make sure you subscribe before 1 million, because then you could say you were here at that point. So I said that the Riddler had put out a handful of different riddles. The first one is this box art. I don't even know. I'll just be real. Some of these we have figured out, including the one at the end, which is awesome. But this one's a little tough. So the main text in the middle says Rikuo. There's been a lot of diving in the community from Soul Silver and many others. It's possible that Rikuo could be related to a specific type of motorcycle, which is often also called the Land King, and it could have something to do with the fact that we've got these legendaries, Miraidon and Koraidon, but there's not a ton to really decipher from that. Soul Silver dives a little bit deeper and says that Rikuo is also a character from a franchise called Dark Stalkers, and it's actually a merman based on a specific type of creature, the merman. So this could be a hint towards some sort of a merman type Pokemon or something like that, but I think the water's a little too muddy on this one. I don't think we really have a clear picture of what this riddle is really depicting at this point in time. Now, the Riddler did say that it's pretty obvious, but it's also kind of secretive, and it's a little tough. So I think at this point, we just don't really have a ton of clarity on what's going on with this particular riddle. So if you guys have any ideas, feel free to dive in yourself. As always, feel free to leave a comment. I look towards our community to try to solve these things as well, but we've got a great kind of leak analyst community going on Twitter. The next thing I thought was pretty cool is he posted a picture of Fuecoco kind of jumping up and down, looking at this berry or orange or whatever it is, and he says, guess its hidden ability based on this, guys. So there's a few different abilities that this could really tie to. The first one being gluttony, the idea of it eating and being able to consume berries sooner. Maybe ripen, which is an ability that Applin's line actually had, which is kind of cool. Unnerve as another one, where it kind of prevents the opposing Pokemon from using food. Some people were speculating maybe Dancer, which when Pokemon uses a dancing move, you actually copy those boosts as well. Quick Feed is another one, and then people were speculating maybe Harvest, but Harvest is only really attributed to grass-type Pokemon. It even has a field effect that increases the spawn rate of grass-type Pokemon, so seems unlikely that Harvest is the answer. But when we look at this Fuecoco, let me know what hidden ability comes to mind for you. A lot of people speculate that the starters generally get like special hidden abilities, but that's not always the case. Like Cinderace got one, but it was the same as Protein. We saw Grassy Surge, which was already on top of Bulu, and then of course Sniper on Inteleon, which we've seen on various Pokemon like Drapion. So it's not as if hidden abilities have to be that unique. Would be a little disappointing if Unnerve or Gluttony was the hidden ability, because they're not as great as some other ones. I wouldn't expect Thick Fat, but we'll have to wait and see. Let me know if you have any thoughts. The next thing he put out was this Morse Code teaser, and this is kind of where the community is in shambles right now, because he says the Riddler goes out and say that after the third decryption of this riddle, you'll get all the letters. If not, you fail that parts in the step. And then he goes on to say that the original message has 10 letters. So we've got this Morse code. People were able to kind of decipher it and try to convert it from Morse to hex, and then hex to base 9. And then there's like this whole set of conversion where people are trying to decode this riddle, and we really haven't gotten anywhere. And apparently, the Riddler says that there's a number of different stages of decoding that you have to go through to figure out what this riddle actually is. So the Riddler decrypted this message 6 times and says that R means reverse. I'll be real, this is way outside of my experience, right? But it seems as though people are somewhat headed in the right direction, where you're going from Morse code into maybe hex, and then hex into base 9, whatever it may be. I really don't know, but if you guys have any ideas, feel free to let us know. I have a feeling this is probably a big piece of the puzzle if we can figure out how do we decrypt this message 6 times. A little extensive, but whatever. And here's kind of the big one, right? So the Riddler put out another riddle of this character, and then a little bit of a Centro thing, and then you've got these different letters, C, C, D, D, E, E, F, F, E, D, C, O, I guess, I don't know, with a music note. So the Twitterverse and the community kind of dove into this one, and we've determined that the anime character's name is actually Mikoto Misaka. She controls electricity, but she's a psychic, Esper, I guess. But the song itself is actually a song that has to do with a frog, and I guess she has like this companion frog or something like that. So the thought right now is that we are getting a brand new frog Pokemon that is either electric type or psychic type, or maybe it's both. So the other thing to mention here is that Misaka Mikoto, she has a coin in her hand and she sends it out with electricity. So there's obviously been a lot of talk about a coin object Pokemon. Maybe there's some sort of tie in there, and I actually saw a really cool post from, I believe, Soul Silver, talking about like this frog. Maybe it has a coin in its mouth, much like Cramorant has Pikachu and Arrokuda in its mouth. I don't know. This feels like a big stretch, but I do think that this riddle is relatively solved in the sense that there's something to do with a frog Pokemon, and it's likely a tie-in to electric or psychic typing. I think that that's kind of where we're at with this. Again, I wish it was a little bit more concrete, but that's what we have. But when we kind of look at some of the other posts, that Morse Code post, not sure what to do with that. I think there's a lot of confusion in the community about that. The hidden ability Fuecoco post, I thought that was solid. Like, we have a general idea what's going on there. But in terms of the other riddle with that kind of that box art, it's just really hard to tell exactly what the Riddler is playing at. But I think there's some good ideas in the community right now. And as always, these things all are going to make sense at some point. It's just a matter of how much is the Riddler willing to reveal to us in this process. The last thing I want to mention in this video is that there was this Sprigatito supposed evolution that got posted around online. Pokesutami did some translations on it, but it's this kind of Sprigatito with its arms crossed like that. And I think at this point we are considering this one to be fake. Not only do a lot of people not like the design, but I think some of the translations were a little bit off and maybe not entirely correct. And to be honest, I just don't see this being the direction of what Sprigatito goes. So I think at this point we can mark it off as fake. I saw it still getting spread around. Got over 170 upvotes on Reddit. A lot of people discussing this one. So if you see this one, I think it's pretty safe to write this one off as fake for sure. So as always, I'm going to continue to bring you guys the updates and the news from the Riddler and much, much more. I really do think that there's a chance that we get some sort of Nintendo Direct next week, and the timing of these different announcements for the various regions, Visit Galar, Visit Unova, whatever it may be, line up so perfectly with a potential Direct and them announcing, of course, the region name of Scarlet and Violet. In fact, maybe we get a Pokemon Direct instead of a Nintendo Direct. I think anything's really possible here and on the table. So again, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. We're closing on 1 million. I appreciate your support. Let me know what your thoughts are on everything riddle-wise. I mean, the frog, the Morse code thing, maybe bringing this video out there is gonna help. So leave a comment, like the video, share it around. Maybe we can solve what these riddles are. And that's gonna be that for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Dan. I also go by A-Drive, and I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.